Check, mic check, 1, 2.
Yo, is this thing on or what?
What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Platform Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Dex, and we are actually recording this today here in Milwaukee. Thank you to Brothers for letting us kind of take their room captive here for the day and knock out a couple of these episodes. If you are watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button, leave some comments. Any questions that you have for the guests, throw them in there. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, make sure you leave us that 5-star review and let us know how we're doing here. Today, I'm sitting down with a longtime friend back home in Milwaukee. Happy to be here. Of course, the one day that I am driving here, it starts snowing finally. But yeah, sitting down with a DJ, long time in the industry here, coming up from being a promoter, being kind of from everything, from hosting to promoting to working the mic for other DJs, and now one of the bigger DJs in the city here. Sitting down with Rutger Krueger. Rutger, how's it going, man?
Man, I'm chilling, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I just want to say real quick before we get into all this, I'm really excited for you. I'm proud of you. You've been killing it. This is like actually a really professional setup. I'm not gonna say I'm surprised, but I'm stoked to be here. Thank you for having me. This is dope, man.
Yeah, I was kind of pissed off now that we like set this stuff up here because it's so nice in this room.
It's really nice. And I'm like the only one, I feel like, I mean, someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm like the only one who utilizes it.
Yeah.
So like we do all our fantasy stuff in here. This also has like kind of become like my speaker storage if I'm playing here or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I love this room. I wish more people would utilize it. But yeah, shout out to Brothers. Shout out to Gavin and everybody for having us here. So
yeah, shout out to Gavin for last minute doing it too.
I know. We texted him like 20 minutes before this. So
and we're just like, hey, can we borrow the room? He's like, yeah, sure, let's make it work.
Yeah, shout out to Gavin.
So yeah, and this room is perfect. I mean, the lighting is good in here. It's a good vibe with the Milwaukee. I know you can't really see it with the camera angle, but it's a good little private room.
It's there. Trust us.
Yeah, it's here. But yeah, we're going to get into a lot of things today, talking about the industry here in Milwaukee. A lot of it talking about the promoting and marketing of gigs here.
Yeah. This could get a little crazy. Could get a little wild.
How Milwaukee differs from a couple different cities as far as DJing goes, with a lot of the equipment that you have to do. Kind of prepping things for yourself, and obviously you being out to visit me in Nashville, you've seen how it is out there. Mm-hmm. And then a couple other things. We'll talk about some dealing with relationships in the industry, and go from there. And some of the things that you kind of pioneered along the way here with the backyard party that you do every year. Is a big service industry get together.
Oh, it's the best.
Yeah, to get things started, man, tell the viewers, tell the listeners a little bit about yourself,
Sure.
Kind of how you grew up, and then how long you've been in Milwaukee and how you got started.
Okay, so well, my name's Rutger. I don't know why, but literally like half the people that like meet me or they'll be out or whatever, they ask me if it's my real name. I've come to learn that I think it's because like I guess it does kind of sound like a DJ name, so they think it's maybe like a stage name. But Rutger Krueger is my government, so I just rolled with it. I feel like it was already kind of weird and wacky enough. I might as well just roll with it. And I mean I like it now. It works out well. But yeah, so basically I was born and raised in Wisconsin. I really only moved to Milwaukee probably like I want to say 8 or 9 years ago. I'm from a little area about an hour depending on where you're at. I just say I'm from Washington County because I'm from so many little different towns. Like I moved around a lot in that little area, but always stayed like in that school zone. But like some of the little towns I lived in are like, you know, only 1,000 people lived in them. But Washington County is kind of where I was born and raised. I liked it a lot growing up, and then it kind of got a little bit worse. So, I mean, I guess just the story of how I got here would just be as simple as, you know, I would say probably like my senior year of high school, I want to say. And, you know, I'll tell you why I don't always have the best memory later. But my senior year of high school, one of my cousins, Nick, he passed away. And on my mom's side of the family, I have African-American mixed cousins. Which doesn't always work out the best in an area like that, especially growing up. You know, like it's pretty much a hick town, so like people would drive tractors to school. Like they had like a drive your dad's farm tractor to school day. They had like drive your snowmobile to school day. You know, and I was like the only kid that really had like an import like lowered Honda Civic, and everybody else drove like pickup trucks and stuff. So it wasn't like the easiest, I guess, being from there. So then that happened. And then I think the first year out of high school, another one of my cousins passed away off some debatable, borderline, possibly related issues.
Yeah.
And that's really when shit kind of got crazy for me, and I really wanted to get out of there because, without skipping too much into it or getting too much into it, but just to kind of broadly go over it. But that was the same year that Scott Walker basically signed the Castle Doctrine in Wisconsin, which basically states, I believe, you can essentially shoot anybody that goes
into your house,
or like general yard, patio, outside of like I think you can even like shoot like a firefighter under that doctrine or whatever. At least that's the way the first mock-up went. Like there was so many loopholes and issues with it. But essentially that's how my cousin passed away. And for me, I was doing my first freshman year at a local college there to try to get my grades up so that I could move elsewhere and go to a better school, because I really never planned on going to like college or anything like that. I really had my hopes set on like hockey. I come from a big hockey family, so my dad played in tons of leagues, still skates to this day.
Played for the Admirals, didn't he?
Well, he was like basically like the Screaming Eagles, all that type of stuff. And then like my mom was even playing in like leagues, so like my whole family was in it. I learned how to ice skate before I learned how to bike ride. So I always like kind of had that like as something that I wanted to do, and then riding dirt bikes was like really, really big to me from a young age too. And then I went into essentially I had the biggest head injury I've ever had. So it was a mud race. I slid out, a dude ran over my head, and I don't remember. I woke up, catheter in me in the hospital. I don't remember the whole week before the race. I don't remember the race. Everything is like somebody else's story.
Yeah.
And so from that, I kind of have some short-term memory loss issues. Nothing like crazy, but like you could tell me like, you got in a car wreck and it was a green Ford Focus, and I might just not remember that it was a green Ford Focus.
Yeah.
But getting back to it, now since those things didn't pan out, I was already kind of dead set on getting out of there. And then the final straw was, like I said, my second cousin passing away, because, I couldn't go to like school, for example, or take like a political class without like essentially half the class trying to argue why my cousin deserved to die or like why he didn't, you know what I mean? And then we were trying to fight the court case. Like Russell Simmons even came to town, because this is around the same time as who was the young kid with the hoodie? Trayvon Martin.
Yeah.
That was going on pretty much simultaneously with a bunch of other stuff. So like, dude, Russell Simmons literally flew to my little hometown, dropped like, I want to say like 4 or 5 digits worth of money to have the courts like release the unedited 911 tapes. So there was a bunch of court stuff going on locally, right? Where like even like you could drive down 33 if this court case was going on, and one whole side of the road would be hundreds of people like protesting for my cousin, and then the other side of the road would be like a bunch of like hicks in pickup trucks, like go Castle Doctrine, go Scott Walker, whatever. And I personally try not to get too involved in politics, but that was my going point where I was like, I gotta get the fuck out of here as soon as possible, and I gotta get around more people that think, or at least are more like me, or more considerate, I guess. So from that point on, I did whatever it took to get through school and get to Milwaukee as soon as possible. So I think my sophomore, junior year of college, I moved to the UWM campus, and best days of my life. I don't think I really had like a real job outside of maybe like doing 10 hours a week at Best Buy, but we were throwing house parties. Me and shout out to Robbie, Derek, all them. But we were throwing house parties Thursday through Sunday, charging cups, whatever, and just throwing pretty much the most insane parties to the point where I had met JB randomly, who was killing the game at the time, like 7 days a week DJing, whatever. And I had kind of like been telling them, or I think that they had become familiar with like the parties we were throwing. And then I got brought on to the Milwaukee house party as a promoter, because they were like, well, if he can fill up a house party, maybe he can do this. Yeah. And I was scared as shit at first, but without going into too much detail beforehand, I had done a lot of songwriting work and executive production work and in my own music career before moving to Milwaukee. Like I think I had played like 20 or 30 shows as an artist, across Chicago, St. Louis. I did like the Slumerican tour with Yellow Wolf, if you remember him. He had a killing for a little while, because he was actually the only white artists, I believe, that Eminem's ever signed.
Yeah.
So like he had a really big come up, and we were opening up for him on the Slamerican tour.
I mean, he's still out there because he's got songs with Jelly Roll.
Yeah,
right
my
now, too.
21st birthday, I headlined Turner Hall Ballroom.
Yeah.
By me and my buddy 4-0, we rented it out.
Do we have footage of this anywhere? Because I want to see some of these raps.
YouTube and stuff. Well, I've come to the conclusion that maybe my vocals aren't what's needed. I still feel strong in like my songwriting abilities and so forth. But yeah, me probably vocally recording probably won't be happening again. And that's only because I felt powerful in my music, but I let somebody convince me that Kiss FM used to do a radio show, and I let someone convince me that, like, dude, you're gonna get so much exposure if you do this radio show. Because at the time, what it was, and I think Corey Piper ended up winning it because I remember being in it with him or like against him or whatever. And basically, you'd submit a song. It had to be like super radio-y, right? And I did not make radio-friendly music. So I made this like lovey-dovey, catchy-ass fucking song. And it was on the fucking radio every day for this competition to like everybody like kind of made fun of me for it. Like to this day, like I feel like no one credits the shit that like actually did well monetarily. Yeah. And they're just all about that one like catchy little lovey jingle radio fucking top 40 song that I made. And so that was when I was like, all right, we got to figure something else out. So flashback forward, now we had gone over me moving to Milwaukee. We were throwing a bunch of house parties, and Mike Edler and JB were kind of pitching to me this idea for this new Friday night party at Dick's, which I would say was probably a top 3 most potent nightclub in its prime. So for me, I was like, this is fucking huge, you know what I mean? And it was like a real trial and error thing. So it was like if I sucked or we didn't make it happen, then like pretty much I was out and I just got that free bar tab and then we were just going to go our separate ways. But I ended up, luckily the big thing is from living in so many small towns and all those kids were starting to turn 21 mixed with throwing UWM parties. I remember like literally the first night we did it, like there was somebody that I went to school with back home and their family was related to somebody that owned a bus company. So I literally like bust out like Washington County people that made, I don't think I'd ever gone out in Milwaukee before. Yeah. And then mixed with like my UWM friends and people that would come to our parties. And, I don't want to say the rest is history or is kind of skipping over it or glorifying it, but without getting too extravagant in it, I mean, that party ended up lasting like 6 years. And that essentially is what gave me everything I have today. Because from that point on, then I was working with Oak. Oak kind of found out about it. And then Michael and Sean, shout out to you guys, gave me a shot. And then I started promoting and emceeing those. And then, from there, I mean, it just turned into to the point where as a promoter and MC, I think I had like 5 residencies a week just talking on the microphone.
No, that's what I was going to say. Because obviously I remember it from Dick's, where it was literally every Friday and it was always you as a promoter and then like JB and whoever else he would bring. And it's just kind of wild to know that it got started just from like house parties and how popular you were running house parties. Yeah. But then it goes to your ability to network, where you're talking about networking with everybody at UWM, networking with everybody back at home, and then obviously the other people that you would meet out at the clubs, and then establishing those relationships to make them repeat customers and coming back.
Absolutely.
As far as the promo game goes, like, so for people that don't know or don't understand it, how did it work for you as far as like getting payments for stuff like that? Were you going off like a head count at every spot, or was each spot different, or how do you kind of negotiate that yourself?
That's a good question, because it still gets messy to this day, even as a DJ or a promoter. But every spot is different. Some people just do flat rate period. That's usually the best, right? But some people do the best is, and like I believe like a lot of the main nightclubs were kind of. So there's tiers to it, right? Like, because they got to know that you can know what you're doing at first. So at first it was like, we'll give you a bar tab, but we'll give you a percentage of whatever tables you sell. Yep. Right? So the only way I would make money when I first started was like by selling tables, whatever. Then it would be like, however many people say your name at the door, guest list wise, we'll give you like $5 out of that. And then we'll still give you your commission off bottles and tables. And then it just kept building up into more tiers, kind of the same way DJs do, right? DJs start off maybe opening up for like $200 or whatever it be, and then they're headlining, and then they're asking for more, and then they have a set in stone rate. But yeah, so then it ended up turning into like I was getting everywhere. I was getting flat rate. I was getting like bottle payout, and then some places were even giving me either a percentage of total sales, or I was getting like $5 per name that said my name. So times $60, that's an extra like $300 as well. Yeah. So there'd be some nights quite evidently, especially towards that period where I won like Milwaukee's promoter or whatever the fuck that award's called. Shout out to Steve, actually. He's got the Nightlife Awards coming up. But I won that, and then towards that frame, like there was nights I was walking out more than the DJs, or I would make more money emceeing and promoting than I would if I was DJing. Like there was certain nights I was turning, like in that transitional period where I was going from promoter to DJ, I would turn down DJ gigs because I was making double the money as a promoter. You know what I mean? So that it was actually like a really scary kind of jump from promotion to DJing, just because I had been doing it for so long and I'd been locked into this like high tier pay that like it was actually like really hard to make the switch.
Yeah, transitioning from it, especially when you know, like you're saying, where you're so comfortable in it. You have that network built up, and then you know that you're good at it. Plus then seeing the actual numbers where you're like, hey, like I know that I can bring home this much on these nights versus, oh, if I'm going to DJ, I'm going to make X amount and possibly make less. You got to think about it business-wise for yourself.
Absolutely. And, you know, this is during a period where I was getting really close to wanting to quit what was at the time my full-time job to jump into this more because the money was just almost double heavy on the nightlife side as it was. And I was working for like Samsung, Verizon, and Google, which are good jobs. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, I was just making all this money, and I was making it in like 4 or 5 hours a night as opposed to 8 hours a day, and I'm making less. And you know what I mean? And I'm waking up from the night before at like 8 in the morning, no sleep, still hungover. You know, like it got really rough in the end because I was working for like those technical companies for 40, 50 hours a week, and I was promoting or DJing for 5, 6 nights a week that I was like, something's got to change because I was so gassed. And I'm sure you can relate to that too, because before you moved, you were doing Apple and DJing as well.
100%.
And like Eddie, for example, like our boy Eddie, you know what I mean? He's like,
I still don't know how he does it.
Like, especially at this age still, right? Because like now it hurts, you know what I mean? And you can feel it in your eyes, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, shouts out to him though, but that's why he's so rich. So
no, because that's where it's like you end up having to make a decision where you're like, all right, like for me, same kind of thing where you're talking about with Apple. It's like I was working over 40 hours a week at Apple, which is a $1 billion company, and I was making more DJing. So it's like, dude, I'm doing 20 hours a week DJing, making more than I'm making in 2 weeks at Apple, where I'm putting in 90 hours in 2 weeks.
Yeah, and I mean, in today's day and age, like you can't fault the bartenders, you can't fault the bottle servers, you can't even fault like the OnlyFans chicks, you can't even fault like strippers, because it's like these day jobs at $20-something an hour, with how expensive it is to live, eat, gas, whatever, it's like you gotta have something. You know what I mean? So like, I mean, dude, you're seeing teachers and like principals and like finance managers working these night jobs as well, and it's like it just doesn't seem right, you know what I'm saying? Because you were raised that a good job like that should be able to like not only like get you a nice house, get you everything that you need, be able to like support an income of maybe a family, and that's just not the case anymore. So like, I don't judge what anybody does anymore, because I'm a firm believer that everybody should have at least a second side hustle with just the way the expensive world is now.
Yeah. No, I mean, even I would see it at Apple, where so many of the people that worked there full time still had like another part-time job. And I'm like, I don't fucking get it. But then I would see how much money I'm bringing in from a second job, which was really like, I would consider DJing my full-time job, even when I was working full-time there. But yeah, it's a different side hustle. And then like when people are referring to bartenders or like DJs and people in the service industry, and they're like, oh, when are you going to get a real job? I fucking
especially right now. Notice how you don't hear that as much anymore now. Like as you used to, at least. Like, you know, it used to be like, you know, I would talk to a girl and she'd be like, well, when are you going to, you know what I mean? When are you going to just go back to Google and like let all this go or whatever? And it's like, I just can't see myself doing it, because the money makes so much sense in such a small amount of time. And it's like sometimes DJing and emceeing or just the nightlife in general was kind of my stress relief from the day job as well. You know what I'm saying? So like I kind of needed it as well, like money included or not. You know, sometimes just being able to play music and see your friends that you haven't seen, or be able to play a set with your buddy that maybe you hadn't in a little while, or just playing a tune that makes you happy. Like that sometimes is the release, and it's sometimes not looked at it like the job. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, which that's how I look at it a lot of times, where I'm like, is this really a job for me? Like, I'm just out here having fun and like doing something I love and playing music, meeting people, being able to network, and like, you never know who you're going to run into.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, making new friends, and then obviously hanging out with your current and old friends too. It's something crazy. So, but you talked a little bit about having like side hustles, and over COVID, I mean, what was like your shift for side hustles?
Yeah. So for starters, I mean, COVID was the best and worst time of my life. So what I mean by that is like, I knew that if I didn't make this jump, like, don't get me wrong, I was still DJing 15 to 20 gigs a month while working for Google. Mm-hmm. But my thing was, I was so miserable, like sleep wise and just like mentally, that like, you know, I was just probably around like a robot zombie when I was at the day job, and it just didn't feel right. So I actually knew that, and I don't know if you remember this, but I told all the boys, I was like, if I don't jump off this cliff now, I'm never going to do it. So I picked the actual, and I knew it was the worst financial time to do it, but I picked the worst financial time to quit your job and chase your dream ever, because all our bars here were pretty much closed except for the ones that like would shut the windows and ignore the sit down rule. But so I quit my day job during COVID and I pursued DJing full time, which was the worst fucking idea ever financially, but the best because I knew in my head, if I could make that jump and I could somehow financially survive this, I'll be able to survive anything. The rest of the shit is a cakewalk. So I guess like one of the negatives is, you know, I was building this, I'm a really big car nerd, and we can get into that later, but like that's how the runners got started and whatever. But I had just got done building my dream Jeep, like the like Army style Humvee that I built. I loved that truck with my whole life, but, you know, I mean, 2 months into not having a ton of DJ work coming in, I noticed that I had to let it go. And so I kept the Audi and got rid of the Jeep, and I sold the Jeep and I lived off that for a while. But I mean, yeah, COVID was fight or flight for a lot of us. I feel like a lot of the DJs that were killing it pre-COVID, but maybe wanted that break to like get some more rest or some more family time and not worry about gigs so much. Like, you know, but then you had the DJs that maybe weren't doing as well during COVID or, you know, before COVID. And then COVID was that like avenue that like, yo, I got to get creative and I got to get on top of this so that when this ends, I get bookings and whatever. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of the route I took. So, I mean, I was streaming bare minimum a DJ set once a day with, at the time I was living with Rock, AKA Rigo. Shout out to him. I learned so much technical stuff from living with him that, you know, super gracious about that time being together. But, you know, we were live streaming every day. And then I was doing a podcast, or what I now would consider a live stream, 3 times a week. It's called the Quarantine Conversations. Yeah, I did 17 of those. Each one, I have like 5 of them that are over like 10,000 total live views, which is pretty good for a live stream. But you know, I had like DJ artists. I had 3 guests on per day, so I was doing that 3 times a week. And then on top of that, I was got into video game streaming real heavily. Mm-hmm. Like I even think there was like a period in time where I made like Twitch partner just off like video games alone. But like I was trying to do whatever it took so that like damn near you were sick of me type shit. Yeah. You know, and then I was doing the quarantine sadness mixes, which the first 2 went top 25 in electronic dance music mixes on Mixcloud. And then I just loved making those. And I never even made a mix before COVID, which is crazy. Yeah. And then like COVID, I was just like, mixes are kind of fun, you know what I mean? And then so I had those going, and then I'm not scared to admit it anymore, but I was doing DoorDash and Uber full time out of my Audi, which is like kind of funny, but like I mean that showed me a lot about myself and my patience, because you know I'm dropping off stuff in bad neighborhoods, good neighborhoods, college neighborhoods, which was the most frustrating, because like I remember sheerly dropping off an order at a Marquette address. Yeah. And at the time, Uber Eats would display what kind of car you had. It doesn't do that anymore. But when that app first got rolling, it would, so that you knew like what kind of car was pulling up with your food. And so it would show everybody that I had this like newer Audi pulling up. And this Marquette kid was like, well, I'd leave you a tip, but it doesn't seem like you need it with what kind of car you're driving. I'm like, I need it more than anything. Actually, I need the tip more now than ever, you know? So, I mean, then flipping shoes, flipping clothes, vintage clothes, Supreme, you know, whatever I could. But I probably during that 1.5 year span, I probably had like 8 to 10 side hustles going on all day, on top of like But also though, like I came out of that and was more booked than I ever was because I was putting out mixes, streams, 2 streams a day, basically 3 streams a day if I was doing the podcast too. And then, you know, me and you did like the Boiler Roof, which still to this day I think is one of the coolest, most underrated visual streams that should have gone. Like I really think it should go viral. Like, if people look at that now and see, well, dude, we had drone footage, synced up with our like DJ sets while being completely live. Like it was, I think that was one of the coolest things we've ever done.
It was dope.
And, you know, so like, and then like, I remember like the Hunter live stream at like site, and then just getting in anywhere that I could that was like down to like be illegal and be open. But so like I said, worst time of my life, but best time of my life. Cause when I came out of that, I was booked and busy like 2-3 months in advance. So
yeah, I mean, talking about the like Uber Eats and stuff too is funny because Eric Deluxe and Five have their podcast, and they were just talking about how like DJs should have a side hustle. Yeah. And that was like one of the ones he said. He's like, yeah, I mean, sometimes you gotta drive that Uber Eats or drive Uber to stack up enough money to go get the mixer that you want or the controller that you want, and then pursue the passion as a DJ. But then especially during COVID, I mean, it was basically you're getting money however you can.
Fight or flight.
Yeah.
That was the most fight or flight moment of my life.
But it's a good way to do it, especially because so many people at that time, I mean, you're not leaving the house. We were ordering so much shit. I mean, when Austin and I lived together, bro, we were ordering food fucking every night.
Well, maybe one part I forgot about the best time of my life too is, I mean, we probably had the most epic house parties, like the 15, parties? 20 person house parties by you guys too. I mean, honestly, me and Rico, it was pretty funny. It was like we would switch off between going to like your house and our house. Because I'm not gonna name any names, but like I remember like throwing streaming parties. Like Mr. New York came over and streamed. Obviously Rigo was streaming. I think you and Sopa came over and streamed. But one of the nights it like got so nuts that like I ended up having to pass out. Like I got so like drunk during like a COVID stream that like I passed out, and like one of our like girl homies like ended up like I think she ended up sleeping like in our spare room or something like that, and she ended up like being so fricked up, thought everybody left, right? And so she's like naked, just trying to get to my fridge, like get a water and go lay back down. And then
the stream was still going.
Rigo's in the kitchen still streaming, and she's in the background. Like it was so funny. And I didn't even know about it till the next day because I had already been like passed out. But like stories like that, like that's why I say like COVID was also the most fun time. Yeah. Like don't get me wrong, we weren't throwing like 1,000-person ragers, but it sure damn felt like we had a 1,000-person rager when 30 of like your favorite people are just raging in a living room when you guys are like live streaming, and then people that are at their house are, you know, interacting with us. Like I remember you, Travis, and I think like Trina and something like that probably were like at Travis's house, and you guys were watching our DJ live stream.
We would like FaceTime each other and like take shots and shit together.
Yeah, that was cool. But one of the funniest things that I remember, shout out Corey Piper. He's a big recording artist. I had this ginormous like $3,000 mountain bike, and the seat was as high as it possibly could. And he's, you know what I mean, not the tallest guy, not the shortest either, and he was like live jumping over the mountain bike for like donations and stuff. And I remember
Trav asked him.
That's right. Yeah, Trav was in the comments.
We saw the bike in the background, and Trav was like, "Corey, you won't jump over that."
Yeah. And then I think you were live recording the reaction and then sent it to me. It's like that's what I mean, like terrible dark times financially and mentally, but also the funnest. I'll never forget those days ever. You know what I mean? And I'm super grateful for him because I think it honestly brought like our friends group way closer over it.
We were together all the time, and it would be like it was like the same 20 of us all the time, just at our place, and just kind of partying.
Because I mean, like I know, for example, like I've known like you, Sopa, whatever, for probably like 8-9 years. Yeah, and we'd hang out when we'd work together, whatever, a one-off event where we go to a Brewers game or something like that. But like COVID really showed me like that you guys are my brothers, and like I have like a fucking tight knit group of boys and brothers. So yet another reason, without getting too deep into it, why I'm super thankful for COVID. So.
Yeah, but it's also awesome to see the positives that come from it, and like you're talking about, just being present and making yourself and like your face, putting it out there. Whether you're doing streams, whether you're making mixes, stuff like that, those are things that people have to look at and now you look at it and you're like, oh, it's everywhere. That's what it is. Like if you have to be putting content out on social media or putting out streams, mixes, everything like that, and that's how you become more relevant.
Yeah.
And over COVID, like you did it the right way by doing that. And that's where it leads to you saying, yeah, coming out of COVID, like I was booked more than prior
Ever.
is because people are like, oh, we've been listening to you. You've been making noise over the shutdown.
Yeah.
Where now you're coming out of it and people are like, oh, hell yeah, I'll go see Rutger. I've been watching his streams. Hell yeah, I'll go see Rutger. I went to his house party like over COVID.
And I just think it showed like another side of me too that was maybe more relatable to people because like
a little bit more vulnerable.
Like 2019, I had gotten out of like a pretty long-term relationship, and I was I'm not saying that I was ever quiet or I stopped hanging out with anybody, but I could tell that I was a little bit more shelved up than I was. And then, you know what I mean? I think that like COVID and like finding people that I could trust with like having fun and like getting to know me, just like, I think it showed people on camera that were watching these streams or watching these videos that like, oh, he's way more fun and approachable than I thought. Not saying that I'm not, but like, you know, I'll be the first to admit that like when I'm sober, I can be a little crabby or quiet. And then when you get a couple drinks in me, I turn into this like whole nother.
You open up a little bit.
Rutkowski at that point, you know what I mean? So, yeah. So I think it was good for showing people that other side of me who maybe thought I was just like the business straight-faced like crabby promoter who like hated going or DJ who hated going and getting you from the door or whatever. And now that's like kind of me and who I am. And I think everybody knows that now. So.
Yeah. And it's also hard leading to, I mean, it's hard going from talking about like being in a relationship, especially here in such a small city where it's like when you break up, everybody fucking knows.
Especially when they're both in the industry.
In the service. Yeah, exactly.
You know, and then you just kind of feel like sides are being taken or whatever. Someone's got to stop working there or whatever. And I never liked that, but you know what I mean? It is what it is. But, you know, I just think in general, getting back to it, people might look at me crazy, but like I'll always say COVID, as far as, you know, my happiness goes, was actually like when we came out of it, I looked back on it and I was like, dang, I came out of this a way better, mentally more strong and happy person. So
yeah. Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about how the game has changed.
Okay.
From DJing, from nightlife, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Branding, promoting yourself, getting into all that. Like, how do you go about proper promotion where you're not on like the cheesy side of promoting yourself? You're promoting yourself the right way.
Yeah.
Especially here in a city where I think DJs have a bigger load.
This is a tough city, man. But I think it goes to show, looking at you or anybody that moves or lives in different spots, that, you know, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere, right?
Yeah.
Because everybody, I think, just thinks, well, it's only an hour from Chicago, so they got Chicago, they'll be fine. And there's a bunch of bookings up there. But like, this is a small city, for starters. But yeah, to answer your question and to get to what I think is going to be really eye-opening towards the DJ community that they probably didn't know about Milwaukee is here, like, as opposed to like, let's say like Vegas or like Chicago or, you know, Miami maybe. Like, sure, following matters in those cities. I'm not saying that it doesn't. And sure, obviously skill matters in those cities as well. But here it's like, if you're a DJ and you aren't making your own flyers or having somebody make you a flyer, because 50% of these venues aren't going to make a flyer for you, which is weird, because in any other city, that shit's sent to me like 2-3 months in advance. You know what I mean? You know, then like one of the weirdest things too, sorry, this is going to all make sense in the end, but you asked me what's the difference between old promo and current promo, and I'm also just going to tie in Milwaukee to these answers as well. But
yeah,
like old promo, I remember like not getting paid if you didn't make a Facebook post, or like getting taken off of a shift if you didn't make a Facebook post, or like you got to send out Facebook event invites.
Oh, the event invites,
you know what I mean?
Huge.
That was huge. But now it's like, dude, Facebook's algorithm fucking sucks. I can make a promo post and I'll be happy if I get 6 likes on it. But if I make an Instagram story or an Instagram post, I'm getting 100 plus likes, 600 views on this plus on the story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Snapchat, same thing, right? And then, you know, obviously if these people like your Facebook stories, then that story gets pushed to more eyes and so forth. It's like Facebook just doesn't care. You know what I mean? Or like back in the day, you would make a Facebook event invite and it would prompt up on your phone's notifications. Now it's like it might not even go through your Facebook notifications. So the main difference now, I think, is that there was such a big emphasis on Facebook and Facebook posting and Facebook invites, whereas now it's just kind of like, in my opinion, I think it's gone more to stories and Instagram and Snapchat stories or TikTok. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I had a residency with Austin at McGillicuddy's on Wednesdays last year in the patio before there was a bunch of like noise and city ordinance issues. And like, you know, like I remember making a post because it's really controversial in the city if it's called Gillies or Cuddy's, and the owners even call it Gillies. So I made a little TikTok, and it ended up getting like over 700 comments. Because the thing is, Gillies has been open for 30 years. So like my parents might have went there, your aunt and uncles might have went there, people younger than you are going there now. So it's like 30 years where the people know about that place. And so it just became this huge heated debate on TikTok. But in the end, I was like, and I don't mean to promote, but I'm here every Wednesday if need be. You know what I'm saying? So even like TikTok is a really good channel too. But yeah, so that I would say that's the biggest difference that I've found. Now going to like my hardships of like, let's say other cities versus Milwaukee. You know, like I said, you pretty much got to make your own flyers. I remember like story videos being a big thing for a while. Man, everybody used the dick out of that Mojo app. I remember that was huge, right? Because everybody's shit would look the same. Yep. And I'm like, dude, at least like you can do so many little things to not make it look like you just paid $6 for Mojo. And, but I think that part's kind of gone away a little bit. Videos are still cool, but you pretty much got to have them in like 10 seconds or less because we're in a day and age where nobody's got the patience for anything anymore. But yeah, so like making your own flyers is huge. You pretty much got to be able to bring people in and book tables. Like if you pretty much, let's put it this way, in Milwaukee, if you just show up, play a set, you probably make one post a day, you're probably losing bookings or you're not getting booked. That's just as simple as it is, right? Because, and I mean, I don't want to say this about myself, but I will say that once I went from promoter to DJ, there was maybe one or two promoters under me, but they kind of realized how hard it was or the work that you actually got to do to the point where like I can't name a single promoter in Milwaukee. I don't think there is one. I don't think there's promoters in Milwaukee, like genuine promoters. The only
one that I like think of is that like Fiji dude who I don't even know who that is.
Yeah, good kid. But like that's another example of how shit's changed, right? Like he's just like maybe making a thing, I'm going to be here tonight, come through. And then like he'll reshare the stuff, but we're in a new day and age, but like I just wish that like people of his age and caliber trying to come up, and he's a really good kid. He will talk about stuff, or I'll try to give him ideas that I think might help, or, you know, he'll ask me questions, which I do appreciate. But like, you know, like I would have to like, when I was a promoter, I had a botted computer that would know that it was your birthday. Yeah. And would send you an automated, I had like 20 different automated, Facebook messages that it would send you on your birthday, but it would still sound like me, right? because I would like type it up with my kind of like lingo, because we all know I got
like, what's up, it's the big Rutkowski. Happy birthday.
And then the only time I would even see the messages is if they responded and were like, I'm free, you know. So like I had that. I was basically messaging probably 400 birthdays a week when I was a promoter. I don't know anybody doing that anymore.
Yeah.
Even reaching out to birthdays.
I don't know the last time I've got a Facebook message.
Yeah.
Or like an event. Yeah, like an event.
I had the botted computer would also, this one's kind of bad, so bear with me. This one was probably going to get a headline, but the botted computer would know when like somebody would become like recently single, or that when somebody wasn't tagged in like the, like it'll just say like in a relationship as opposed to like in a relationship with Daniel. You know what I mean? And so then I had messages set up to send that, like, yo, I see you're newly single. Like, if you want to get back out in these streets, let me know. You know what I mean? So like, there's just shit that just promoters just aren't doing anymore. Yeah. You know what I mean? Or like, I remember like Matty Ice, he was above me, and like just like David too or whatever, they would throw like fat house parties, pre-games, and then they would just bring that whole house worth to a party, and then, you know, they were making money that way off guest lists and so forth. So there's so many like good things that honestly can still be done if the people just aren't lazy. And then there's so much money to be made with a good promoter and so forth that just aren't being done anymore, that, you know, I just wish it's so, the money's there for somebody to grab, right? Yeah. Because right now DJs are doing what promoters are doing, and they're getting a bigger budget for it. Yeah. Whereas like if there was just one promoter who was doing all these little somewhat easy to do things, and they would be getting a bag for it. So Milwaukee doesn't have promoters anymore, which is like, you know, getting back to the point. And then I just think like, you know, DJs, a lot of the DJs that I know just want to show up and play and leave. Sure, they'll make a post or they'll post it on their story, but to answer your question, I think those are the general differences. Yeah. Sorry for taking so long.
No, you're good.
But I could go all day with that and lazy promotion, but those are the main differences that I see between back in the day and now.
But that's what I think is like with the promoters, especially like there's nobody here in Milwaukee that's promoting as far as like even having like a guest list for a place.
Yeah.
Where like they might be showing up and sharing something on a story, but they're not like proving that they're bringing anybody in. Anything that would make it monetarily like valuable to the venue.
Sure.
And then I feel like that ends up falling all on the DJ here, where a lot of times, even the more of the places that I would play here, like the staff barely even promotes.
Yeah, man.
Where they're just like expect the venue to be busy.
Have I ever told you about the goalie method? So in the height of my promo career, I used to always consider promoters and DJs to be the goalie.
Okay.
And what I mean, and that's coming from hockey days, because I was a goalie throughout my high school career before I started skating out in college. But the goalie was the guy where if you guys won the game, and you know what I mean? Everybody was lifting you up. You were getting the drinks and the food bought for you, whatever. But if you lost the game, you could have had a fucking 60 save game. Mm-hmm. But if you lost the game, it's like, well, fucking Rut let 3 goals in. What the fuck? You know what I mean? And I think that's very similar to the nightlife.
Yeah.
And I make that analogy a lot where like these bartenders won't even make a post saying that they're working, but then get mad if it's not a sold out night and they don't make their tips that they're used to making. It's like, you could help me. Just make a cute little selfie, say I'm here with the location. You know what I mean? Bare minimum, the 5 to 10 dudes that have crushes on you will probably come in when they know where you're at.
Yeah.
They're just going to try to play it off low key, like, oh, you're here tonight? That's crazy. But, you know, that's the goalie thing that I come up with, is that these bartenders and bottle servers will look at you if it's not an elbow to elbow rager. Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, I did the exact same formula that I did last night and the night before that and the night before that. So it's like, I don't know, man. Like, I'll take the blame. I'm okay with it. That's why I get paid the money that I do, because I take the blame when we have a bad night. But, you know what I mean? That's the goalie thing that I've kind of come up with.
That's a perfect analogy, because I've heard it so many times where it's like end of the night and the bartenders or servers are like, oh, like, why weren't we busy tonight? Oh, we were so slow tonight. Like, oh, it's from the music or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm like, no, like I had 15 of my friends come in.
It's always from the music, right?
Yeah.
The fight's from the music. Okay, chill out, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The reason why people don't have their hands in the air all fucking night for 4 hours is because of the music. I'm like, well, no, I mean, that would be pretty tiring, honestly, but I get what you mean. You know what I mean? But
good workout, just having the hands.
Yeah,
in the air
maybe
for 4
the
hours.
music is the goalie in this scenario.
But no, that's a good analogy. It definitely makes sense, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to be able to relate to it because I do feel like it.
I've just grown such a thick shell over my like 8 years of doing this now that I don't care. I'll take the blame. Fine. But let's keep it moving and let's figure out a way that we can get something else jiving. I'm always open. I'm very, very open to ideas, opinions, whatever.
Yeah.
Things I can do better maybe, or things that maybe I don't know about. You know, like so many people have taught me shit over the years. Michael is really, really good at teaching me new stuff or like what's killing it in the market as far as promo and technology and algorithms go. You know what I mean? And or even just as simple as like just telling me just general statistics that I don't know that I might help me now. I'm always open to it. I'm fine with being the blame. It is a little annoying. But like I said, I feel like I've grown a pretty thick skin throughout the years that, fine, my fault. Let's keep her moving though.
On to the next night, yeah. So something that you've been doing for, what are we coming up on? How many years have you been doing the house party or the yard party? It's got to be like 5.
I'd have to like look at the most recent flyer, but I want to say 6.
Oh, yeah, I was like, it's got to be 5 or 6 years. So yeah, something that you've been doing is that yard party for the last 5-6 years here, where you kind of open up your house and your backyard to whoever in the service industry. Basically, like you invite your first couple people, and then you're like, yeah, bring whoever, and it's gotten bigger and bigger every year, more and more fun every year. Just kind of talk about how you got that started and why you got it started.
So I just call it the annual yard party. The biggest thing about me that I missed when I moved to the city as opposed to living in the boondocks was that I loved like classic yard parties where just a bunch of shit is going on at once. So like, you know, like back home, people would do like pig roasts, right? Where they're roasting pigs and they're fucking doing barbecue. Well, people are riding 4-wheelers and some people are playing games, and then inside they might have like a casino night going on. Yeah. I can think of a really close old family friend. The family was called the Wangers, and they used to throw these
Awesome name.
They used to throw the best yard parties, and I think I missed it when I moved to the city. I mean, dude, there'd be people barbecuing outside. They'd have a casino night in the basement where you could gamble, and then they'd have like video game setups with like, I remember like pinball machines, and then outside they got like a magic guy or like somebody like throwing flames or like, you know what I mean, while people are throwing footballs, and then people are riding dirt bikes on the other end of the, like, I just missed that because you can't have that. Like, nobody downtown's got a yard.
Yeah.
So it was like a blessing in disguise when my mom moved to that house, because it was only 5 minutes from downtown, still extremely close, and she had like a really nice yard, which is just not common in a city. And I brought the idea to her once. I think it all started because I had just gotten sick of like getting bottles in a club thrown at me as if I just was on a flyer for my birthday. And I was like, I want to do something like different. Like, and so I brought the idea up to her. And the first year it was like maybe 60, 70 people. I brought turntables out. I brought a controller out. So 2 or 3 DJs could be going at it at the same point. I had like bags out there, and then my mom cooked all the food and she barbecued up. And my mom does really well at barbecue for a white chick. We're just going to be honest with that. But I mean, and then now it's grown to this thing where like, you know, I'm buying N64s with projector screens so people can play Mario Kart. Then I have Pop-A-Shot basketball, still DJ setups, the pool in the backyard if people want to swim. You know what I mean? I have like more games in the garage, bags, the whole 9. 10 to 20 DJs will show up, so we don't ever have to worry about music. And then it's just become this awesome like industry event where all these bartenders, bottle servers, DJs, managers, owners come through, and like it gets kind of expensive. I'm not gonna lie. Like these past 2 have been like 1,500 to 2 G's, which is like, I'm not saying a lot, but like a lot for me to just like try to have a good time with my friends.
Yeah.
But that's how you know that's how much I love it. Like, you know what I mean? Like I don't trip about it. I enjoy that more than, you know what I mean? I'll still get bottles in a club one night or something like that, but like it's just the best for me. It just still makes me feel like it's the one thing left that I still liked about my hometown area was those yard parties. But I get to do it here, and like a lot of people have never done one before they like come, you know what I'm saying? So they don't understand like the vibe or the fun to it, and that's kind of like my big thing. And I mean, one day I would like for it to get big enough that it's a little mini music festival, because this past 2 years I've broken like 250 to 300 people clocking into the backyard. So
damn.
It's gotten to the point where like my mom has actually like asked me to calm down on inviting people, because like she's whipping out like 200 burgers, like 300 brats, 500 hot dogs, like 15 pounds of cheesy potato casserole, which is my favorite. And you know what I mean? It's gotten crazy. So I should probably chill or start finding the venue that can better appropriately accommodate what I got going on. But that's the yard party. I love it. It ain't stopping anytime soon.
Do you ever think about like turning it into your own event where
I'm at that stage now where I'm going to have to make a jump soon.
Yeah.
I'm like at that cliff where it's like where I'm at is fine for the yard, but it is at that cap, right? Where like I can't fit too many people out. I'm spending enough money on liquor that like I gotta chill out, and I would rather just find a venue.
Yeah, that's even with most people like bringing liquor and stuff too. I feel like everybody brings shit.
The food cost alone is like crazy.
Yeah.
Whereas like I feel like if I found the right place, I could just get like a $1,500 food package that would pay for everything, and it'd be the same amount of money. And my mom would have less stress too.
Yeah, because then you have them.
Don't get me wrong, she still parties her ass off.
Rock, yeah,
dude. My parents are big on that, but you know, I would just like her to be able to enjoy herself a little bit more too, because that's like her pride and joy. She probably likes it more than I do. You know, so like last night she was out about in the city, and I was just way too tired to go out. But she hit like Harp, she hit Brewery, whatever, and people are sending me snaps of like her in the background. And she told me like, yeah, like 17 total people like hugged me or said whatever to me, and they brought up the yard party and so forth. And so it's like, it's become their thing too. So it's really, really cool. It's something we all do together now.
Yeah, her and Pat are fucking awesome. They're the nicest people ever.
The most supportive. Like, obviously you want your parents to support you, but like at the end of the day, I'm like a guy that plays music and like drinks liquor and hangs out with my friends. So the fact that my parents are so supportive about it, they go to every single 4th of July boat party that we do. They go to anytime I open up for like a somewhat big artist. Anytime so I've played Summerfest twice now. They're like front row the whole time. You know what I mean? It's honestly, I'm super blessed. Like, I can't say a negative. Obviously, you don't want to say anything negative about your parents, but as far as support goes, I don't have a negative thing that I can say about it.
Yeah. No, they're awesome. And they support your friends too, which is
crazy, right?
Another thing. Like
I've seen them go and catch friends sets when I'm off type shit. So it's the best thing ever. And it means a lot to me now because 90% of my family doesn't live here.
Yeah.
They either live like 2-3 hours up north, or they live in Florida, or California, or Vegas, so it's like just my mom and my stepdad that still live here. So I think they understand how I feel about that. Just kind of feeling alone and like that I have no family here. So the fact that they attend so much stuff really, really helps like fill that void, I guess.
Yeah. No, it's always been a good time every year that I've been there. I want to say, I obviously missed this year because we were.
I would say you got at least 2 or 3 in.
Yeah, I've been to 3. Yeah. But yeah, then always getting like the group picture of everybody too. But just to be able to just sit there and just kick it with everybody, play some games, eat
and then
some
we
food.
still go out afterwards too. But
that's the thing is then like everybody goes out after together. So then you got a party of 20, 30 people that's still.
And I always do it like the week before my birthday.
Yeah.
But like so many venues or GMs or whatever will hit me up like as if it's my birthday. Because they know I'm coming in deep.
Yeah,
we got like a 40 car wagon caravan coming downtown as soon as that thing wraps up.
Where it's like they want to make their spot the destination for the after
party. It's pretty cool,
Yeah.
actually. It's pretty cool.
Which is good, yeah.
Yeah.
So you're pretty big into taking some videos, putting them out on like TikTok, putting some stuff together, whether it's you in your car, the dirt bikes, and then obviously you doing DJ and promoter stuff.
Yeah.
I forget when it was. I don't think it was over COVID. It might have been like right after COVID, where you were DJing in West Bend, and somehow it's got on video of you going to either the bar to get a drink or going to take a piss, and one kid thought he was the funny kid.
Yeah.
Goes and starts fucking with the DJ equipment.
Yeah. So. Man, West Bend, believe it or not, actually used to have like a pretty lit, in my hometown, used to have like a pretty lit little nightclub called the Inferno. They're closed now, but I mean, the branding and so forth was a little cheesy, but I tried to help them out with that when I was there because they were paying me pretty graciously to come back home. Because I mean, a lot of the spots out there know that I don't like to come back home unless it's like a special ordeal. But yeah, so I was out there one time. And I was working there a lot during COVID because they just didn't give a shit about COVID rules out there. And so it was a kid that I kind of knew. I sort of kind of knew about him. Not a ton, but he came in with a lot of like my old snowboard homies that I used to work at the ski hill with. And basically, long story short, he must have asked me, and I find out a lot of this later, by the way.
Yeah.
I didn't know this at the time. Because that place had a pretty crazy sound system for West Bend. It was so loud in there. And 2 booth monitors too, so I was pretty surrounded. But he must have apparently asked me if he could do like the jigga jigga scratch ordeal on one of the decks, and I didn't hear him. And I probably just thought he said like, do you want another drink or something like that or whatever. And so I just nodded my head. And then 5-10 minutes go by, and it's peak hour too. It's probably midnight. So I'm getting into the thick of like what I need to play to get the crowd going.
Yeah.
And he just mid-song puts his hand on and just does the scratch thing. And my first reaction, I just slapped the shit out of him. Like quick as shit. Like, I mean, probably like, if you look at my reaction time, probably had to be like a millisecond. I was quick with it. But, yeah, so then like it gets recorded by one of his friends, which was another thing that like let me know that he was just trying to do it to fuck with me maybe or to like troll me because he had a guy recording on the side. That video that I've shown you, I wasn't recording that. Nobody I was with recorded that. One of his boys did. And then like a couple days later, all these people are DMing me this TikTok, and I don't even think I think I had TikTok, but I was new to it at the time. And I'm talking like crazy amount of views because this dude did have a pretty good following of his own. He's like a snowboarder and he's pretty solid. So like I said, now we're cool, whatever. But so then there's just this huge debate going on in the comments of like, this kid deserved it, or this DJ is an asshole, like back and forth. And I mean, probably like 180,000 views when I caught it. And then it was just going up and going up. And then I started realizing like, man, maybe this isn't something I want. Cause I'm not like a huge dick, but I also like, it was like 12:30. I'm trying to get people going. And like, if the music would have stopped or that random scratch would have happened, cause he was trying to do it on the song that was currently playing.
Yeah.
My first reaction is just like, it's a little hometown. So although it was a pretty big capacity nightclub, I have no bouncers by me. So I just have to fend for myself, which is kind of the idea. But later on, after the whole thing got handled, taken care of. We're cool. Like I remember him coming to like Trinity or something when I was DJing, and I bought him a couple rounds, and I tried to tell him that like, you know, it wasn't what it is. But I basically come to find out that he asked me if he could scratch on it, and I just nodded my head when I swear to God I didn't hear him.
Yeah.
And then he did it. And I'm like, yo, what the fuck? And I just, you know, whatever. But it is what it is. We're cool now. But yeah, that was quite the fiasco. That's the most viral thing I'm included in on TikTok. And like, it wasn't even on my TikTok. And I didn't even like know what was going on. So that kind of fucking sucks. But it's a funny story now.
I just remember seeing it and I was like, that's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
And it's a good conversation starter to not fuck with DJ's shit, because you see it all the time, and it's like, just don't touch his shit.
And
like,
that actually kind of like reminds me of like the craziest yet funny thing that's ever happened to me. I was DJing here actually.
At Brothers?
Yeah, here.
Okay.
And this place holds a lot of people. Like, holds a lot of people. I know you can't see it because we're in their private like party room, but this place will usually between Thursday and Saturday get 4 digits worth of people in here partying. A kid comes up to me mid-set, and he essentially, most random thing ever, he basically says, yo, bro, I'm just going to keep it a buck with you. I've been going back and forth with this smoke show on Tinder, and I told her that I'm a DJ. And, yo, like, if I paid you like 50, 60 bucks, would you just come out of here I won't touch anything, but would you let me in the booth? Can I just record a snap of like the controller and the crowd and then send it to her, because I don't think I think she's starting to catch on to me. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, bro, I don't give a fuck. That's awesome. And he gave me like 50 or 60 bucks to do it. And so still to this day, like social media, weird, funny related DJ stories, probably like the coolest, funniest thing. I made 50 bucks for a guy to sit in the DJ booth for a Snapchat's worth of time, and then he just got out. He's like, thanks, brother.
So, and potentially get a date from his Tinder girl.
Yeah. Like, I don't know how he's fending off the lies now, but hopefully they're together, and hopefully she's cool with him not being a DJ. But either way, I made 50 or 60 bucks, and it was awesome for me. So hilarious. So I was like, this is the most random thing that I've probably ever dealt with.
Yeah, just for him to pop up on the side and be like, yo.
But to be so like honest with me, right? Like, I couldn't have given a shit. He could have just asked me, can I sit in the DJ booth for a minute for 50 bucks? Yep, for sure. You got it, brother.
But the fact that he told the backstory makes it so much better, too.
Yeah, it was hilarious. It was awesome.
Yeah. I mean, that's something that I worry about, too, a lot here, though. I mean, from coming from the West Bend part of somebody touching your equipment, and then obviously...
I knew this was where this was going.
Something here, in Milwaukee is pretty much everywhere in the city.
The only city
in
the United States that I've ever been to that doesn't provide DJ equipment outside of Lucid and 720.
Yeah.
I can't think of it. Well, Bodega too. District does. Bodega. Sorry. And so it's just so weird to me, because like I'll even go to like small cities. Like I just visited Steve in St. Pete because I was on like my little family tour where I got to hit like 6 different cities in Florida in like a week, and I was in St. Pete, which is like a smaller extension. It's kind of like, well, it's right outside of Tampa, but the way I look at it is it's like where Milwaukee is. St. Pete to me is like Brookfield. Like it's a little more uppity and like not as noisy and city-like. But everywhere I went there had CDJ 3000s or techs, and like basically $10,000 plus, or like $10,000 plus setups. Everywhere I go, every time I DJ in Chicago, full setups. Might not be the best setup. A lot of time the most beat setups I've ever played on are in Chicago, but like...
but you're still getting. I still don't
got to bring that shit with me, though. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? I don't got to travel with my shit. Here, 80% of the places I play, I not only have to bring my own hardware, I have to bring a booth monitor speaker too. They don't even have booths. Like, it's wild to me, but I mean, I just think that we've gotten so used to it, and we've bitched about it so much that they're just sick of us bitching about it, so we're just like, all right, fuck it. Well, I still need to work.
I do think
I still have a good time at those places. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I do think that that's something that I wish that Milwaukee DJs would somehow change, though, because the fact that we have to do that at every single venue and still get paid
the same amount
what Milwaukee DJs get paid, which typically you're getting $100 an hour at most venues. Yeah. But a lot of these aren't even at that, and you're having to bring your own equipment, which is just fucking unreal to me.
Yeah. So I mean, we make the same amount hourly that I've noticed, especially as like the South Florida market, which is good, but except for they're not bringing any equipment, which I think for me bringing my own equipment and exposing it to potentially getting dropped on, spilled on, throw me like an extra hundo. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be like, give me what this thing's worth or what the rental fee would be. Just toss me like an extra 50 or a hundo so that I just shut the fuck up about it and we just keep her moving. Because at the end of the day, it's like, if my shit does get spilt on, then it's like, I got to go to this guy and I got to get it repaired. And there's such a fucking shortage of repairmen in the city.
Yeah, where you're waiting for that.
And it's like, even, that's a whole other thing I'm not even going to get into because I'll go for a day on that. But there's like 1 or 2 repairmen in the city left. That's it. And so it's like, it's not, and they're not like Pioneer certified. They're just like dudes that do it. So like, it can get a little hit or miss, a little shoddy. But for the most part, my general thing is like, it's going to take me 1 to 3 weeks to get the guy who's already fixing 7 different mixers or controllers to come look at my shit. But then on top of that, like, the bar isn't going to throw you any extra money either. You know what I'm saying? Or the guy that spilt on it certainly isn't. Because he probably doesn't even remember doing it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So it's so frustrating. But I mean, like I said, we all bitch about it till I can literally feel like my voice going down from us talking today because I'm a talkster. I'm not going to lie. But like, especially that's a subject that I'll lose my voice on.
Yeah.
So.
But no, I definitely think that the DJs do need to do something about it here where you all either charge more because then the venues are going to realize like, damn, we're paying extra $100 every time that we're having these DJs. We could just buy our own shit and it will kind of just make them just buy their own shit, which they should anyway. Like, you can get a controller, a Rev 7, an SRT are not fucking expensive.
I'm not even asking for like a new setup or like CDJs or whatever, but like, you know, like let's say like 2 good working Technique or Pioneer turntables, you can get a pair for like $800 and then just buy some S9 for $700 and I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, use SRTs or like refurbished SRTs or shit. I'll rock an SZ. I like SZs honestly, but like those are under $1,000 if they're like used or
That's
refurbished.
what I'm saying. Like, there's no reason that like,
and that's like, and it's always like the spot. Like it's a spot that's making 10 G's and 20 G's a night. Like that's not gonna put a dent in it. And you're a business, so you're gonna get that shit back at the end of the year, anyways, on a tax return.
You're gonna get it back that night.
Yeah. But I mean, like as far as like
writing
genuinely,
off.
You're gonna write it off anyways because you have an LLC business, so it costs them nothing at the end of the year.
And then being able to insure it through the
you
business.
You can write that off too, though.
Exactly.
Man, I don't know. It is what it is.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Everything I buy, I write off. Yeah. So I don't know why.
As you should.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, aside from equipment stuff too, one thing that I think differs here a lot than most other cities is the music structure too.
Yeah.
Milwaukee, I think, is a very diverse city. A lot of white, black, Latino. But then the majority of these venues are more so against hip hop.
Yeah.
You have a couple that are more hip hop heavy venues. Like I look at like a 720. Lucid likes a lot of hip hop. A Bodega is Latin hip hop. But the majority of these downtown venues kind of stray away from hip hop. And I mean, there's a lot of issues that happen downtown, but is it the music? No, I don't think so.
No.
So, I mean, how do you handle that when management is like, hey, don't play this?
It's tough. So, I mean, well, for starters, I actually have been curating monthly lists now for a couple. I don't know if I told you about that.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
But I've been doing it for a couple different venues and like booking managers, whatever, where I make a document and it's like, here's the top 75 to 100 songs that people in your customers' clientele's age range are feeling. Whether I think that they're good or bad, this is just what's hot right now. This is, I take Billboard, I take Apple Music, I take Spotify, I take all the like most downloaded for the month from record pools, whatever. Like I do a fair amount of research when I give them these lists, right? Then my second list is like music that it is hip hop probably or R&B, but it's either so old. Like it's, like it's 10, 15, 20 years old now. Like, dude, In the Club by 50 Cent. That's like what, a 20-year-old song now?
Yeah.
Like, dude, it's on like the now. This is what I call pop. When it makes it on that record, on that list, and they're like playing it at millennials' weddings, you can play it in a college bar. You know what I'm saying? So that's what the second list usually is. It'll be like Nelly. It'll be like Into Club, Gold Digger by Kanye. I even put in a lot of these documents, I've been recently putting No Hands in there.
Yeah.
Because, dude, that song is diamond, which means it went platinum 10 times. You know what I mean? The only other songs that are doing that are like Justin Bieber and like Taylor Swift. When you're at that point of like downloads, sales, and streams, that means everybody likes that song. Everybody knows the words of that song. I also believe that song should have got a Grammy. Another day's story. But like I put that on that list because like, dude, we should be able to play that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like that's the second part of that list is like hip hop that I believe is okay now to maybe open up their eyes to it or understand what I think about it. And I'll even write like a little like sentence or two of why I think it's okay. And then the third is usually like TikTok, explaining the TikTok snippets because like, you know, like so many songs are going viral just off that app now. You know what I mean? And kids really want to hear them because they want to do the dance to it with their friends or, you know what I mean? There's so many reasons, but I believe that we got to start taking a higher look at TikTok songs just because, like I said, all those songs get super popular because the kids blow them up. Then they get dances made to them and the people want to dance that dance in the club. So I think I include that list of like viral, non-radio pushed music as well. And to answer your question now that I've got that out of the way, look, when we're playing at these spots that we're talking about, we won't name any names or whatever because, you know, I have a lot of love for those venues and I do see their point as well. You know, like there's a lot of fights going on or whatever, issues or whatever it be. The way I would start that question or that answer is that we're already trying to keep it clean. Like we don't go in there. I don't go into those spots expecting to play a hood set. I don't go into those spots expecting to play a peak hour nightclub set. You know what I'm saying? I'm already playing a lot of like top 40 or like college or like remix. It might be a remix of a hip hop song, but like it's got like a house or like a bass or like a big room like beat behind it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I already know what you want. But like I personally feel like I'm doing the customers a disservice and they're looking at me like I'm the shittiest DJ in the world if I'm not at least sprinkling in one pop hip hop song in every like 8 songs. Like I personally believe I'm doing the venue a disservice. These kids aren't hearing what they want to hear. These kids are looking at me like I suck. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I believe my answer is that as long as you're drizzling one in, but after that you pump the brakes and you get back to, you know, the general vibe, I don't see a problem with it. I also don't believe that music causes fights. Like the hardest hip hop song I'll probably play in like something like that would probably be like No Hands, right? And I know that song's not going to directly cause a fight. You know what I mean? Because he's essentially like hollering at a girl trying to get people to party in the song. You know, like girl, the way you moving, and it's such a catchy song. Every verse is catchy as shit. Yeah. That might be the dirtiest or gnarliest song that I play in like the college venues. And it's like, that's not causing a fight. And even after that, because I know you're already looking at me like this fucking guy's playing hip hop, I'm gonna go back to 5, 6, 7 top 40 college, you know what I mean, songs after that. So it's like, just let me get through this. It's 3 minutes. And then I'm gonna go back to 15 minutes of chill, you know what I mean, fun, top 40, college-y stuff. So that's my answer is like, I personally don't believe, like I'm personally really already throttling myself heavily with like really like breaking the boundaries of these kids like thinking that I'm boring. It's like, let me sprinkle in some stuff that I know they want to hear and just trust me because I know it's not going to cause a fight. And if it does, like if I even see like 2 people get in each other's face, I'm almost always cutting it out. Like I'm looking. It's not like I'm playing the song and then I'm just like Ray Charles, like not looking to see if the crowd's feeling it or not. Like I'm doing my job, and I just wish there was a little more trust there. But I also think that by not getting that trust, me curating these lists has really helped a lot. Yeah. Because they're, you know what I'm saying? And I'm writing out reasons why, you know what I'm saying? So I'm doing what I can to make it better. I'm just talking about the college stuff. And don't get me wrong, they don't have to listen to me, they don't have to change anything, they can keep going the way they are. I just think that everybody would be a little bit happier if we were like, if we were like, let's say like 2 in every 3 songs were maybe like Nelly, 50 Cent. It doesn't have to be the brand new stuff. Doesn't have to be hood, but just some like an anthem. Those are anthems at this point, right? They're being played at weddings. They're being played at corporate banquets. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause they're 15, 20 years old. They're classics now. You know what I'm saying? Like when In the Club came out, a lot of these kids that are 21 were like 1 or 2 years old. So it's like, I don't know, but that's my short end of it.
No, I definitely agree. I wish that a lot of these venues, as far as like management and ownership, would be a little bit more understanding as far as music goes. I do think that some of them are a little out of touch and want what they want and don't necessarily realize that it may or may not be hurting the venue as opposed to like helping it.
That's what I think too.
And then as far as a DJ too, I mean, it fucking sucks when you're handcuffed.
It hurts, dude.
Yeah,
when it honestly can hurt. Like it fucks with my mental sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, dude, do I really suck? Like, why am I getting a thumbs down right now? I haven't fucked up a transition. That shit was buttery smooth. Like, but you're thumbs down at me, and I know why you're actually thumbs down at me. I know why, because she wants to hear Sexy Red. But like, I'm getting it in my head now, watching you do it in front of me for 5 seconds that, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. That I'm just not good. And I'm not going to do that to myself. I'm much better than that. You know what I'm saying? So, but like also my bigger thing is like a lot of these places, we have great relationships with them.
Yeah.
We hang out with them when we're not working. I love like 99% of the GMs and owners in the city, and they're all our boys. We kick it, and it's like, I've been working for you guys for years now. I know your best interests. You know what I'm saying? We're boys. I'm not going to do you bad. I'm not going to do you dirty. I'm not going to intentionally screw you. You know what I'm saying? Just put a little trust in me. I put trust in you. Put a little trust in me that I'm going to take care. I'm not going to go crazy. I'm just going to hit a couple, one in every 6 to 8 songs, just to like keep everybody happy, keep everybody's drinks flowing. Because at the end of the day, that's why we're booked. We're booked to keep people buying drinks, not to have them thumbs down, get a cup of water and dip out because they thought the DJ was whack.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. That's my only other thing too. But it's like, we're genuinely homies with these dudes. We've been working for you for years. Like, bro, I trust my life and income with you booking me and whatnot. Trust me a little bit that I'm not going to screw over your night. I'm in fact trying to make you a little bit more money, if anything.
Yeah, keep that crowd there.
Yeah.
So, well, lastly here, I mean, we're gonna hit a few little rapid fire questions.
Okay.
I like to just kind of put these guys on the spot and see what you're feeling right now. So, what's your biggest DJ habit that you think is either a good habit or a bad habit?
I would definitely say like my habit that I never would have thought about until you started asking this question to people, and I'm like, oh my, I catch myself doing it, and I'm like, Rut, what are you doing? Is like, so I never really use headphones, like I really don't. Maybe when I'm transferring from one DJ to me, I might just to like make sure I'm chilling, but like 90% of the time I'm just wearing the headphones around my forehead so that people think that I'm like listening to music and not them. But dude, I'm never using headphones really, and I always every song change the headphone cue.
The cue?
But I never listen to headphones. So why do I don't know. It's like I just do it naturally, maybe to make it look like I'm doing more so people leave me alone more. I don't know. But I do it every transition, and I'm never using my headphones when I transition.
Interesting. And it just became that much of a habit that you still just always hit the cue?
I think from when I first started DJing and I was genuinely using my headphones a lot and cueing, but I never use my headphones to cue. I'll keep them on my forehead to like look like I'm busy, but I'm never using my headphones to cue, so I don't know why I do that.
Okay.
Every song, dude.
Damn, that's crazy. I've never noticed that you do that.
Yeah.
And I probably wouldn't.
Like I think like Austin's called me out for it a couple times. Like, dude, like my headphones will like be maybe like in my bag. Like especially if I'm with him, I'm not running headphones because he really doesn't either. And we play together a lot. Yeah. So like he'll catch me doing it. Like, dude, what are you doing? And like I'm like, oh my. I think about it now all the time, and I'll still do it. I'm like, don't do it, and I'll be like, oh, I just did it. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we'll hit you with a couple of these rapid fire questions.
All right, go ahead.
So, first one, what's your favorite place to play in Milwaukee?
True open format wise, I'm gonna say Brothers
here
right now.
Okay.
This place has grown to be like so fun, dude. And it's like such a big crowd. And there's like the funnest part about it is there's so many different rooms that are filled with people.
Yeah.
I'm only seeing one room and what one room is like jiving to. But to the fact that I'm playing music for like 4 or 5 whole other rooms and floors without knowing, like that's, I don't know why I like it. It's kind of just like a mystery to me. It's cool. So this for open format is like, college stuff has probably become one of my favorites. I would say for like just club stuff, I miss Sight so much that, you know what I mean? I got so many opportunities there to open up for artists that I might have never met or had the opportunity to before. Mm-hmm. It felt like when you're DJing there, you were playing the biggest show ever.
Yeah.
Just to set up the lights, how elevated you were, whatever. And then when you're in the crowd, you just felt like you were catching a ginormous artist for a huge intimate discount because there was only like a cap of like 300 in there. So
yeah, and the way that the stage and everything was set up, you were like, you're in it and you're so close. And like you said, it's a much more intimate venue.
So it felt like you were playing a big show every time, just being so high up above everybody.
Yeah.
And the sound and all that. And like, the sound check, the light, they had a VJ, the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
But then like, like I said, I also got the opportunity to play and meet some of my favorite artists, Chainsmokers have rolled through there. I opened up for Sean Frank, who I'm a ginormous fan of his songwriting, coming from a songwriting background. So, long story short, Sight for club, dance music, here for probably like top 40 college style vibe.
What would be a venue, if you could DJ at any venue in the world, what's on the bucket list of a spot that you want to DJ at?
Man, that's a good question. Obviously, if I'm shooting for the stars, I would say like Live.
Okay.
In the Midwest, I would probably like, something that's an attainable goal.
Yeah.
I've played downstairs before, but I think Tunnel is so cool in Chicago. I've never gotten a chance to play in Tunnel. I just kind of stopped even reaching out to Chicago stuff. But, I played in Moe's downstairs, and that was actually a blast. I played it with New York, and we had a great time. But, yeah, Tunnel, I've been in the DJ booth, saying what's up to Gordo or all the boys or whatever. But I think being in the DJ booth and just seeing that, like, how far down that place goes.
Fucking huge.
It's that venue, Midwest-wise, that would probably be my Midwest dream, yeah.
So, yeah, Tunnel is an awesome spot. Lago is the man. Gordo,
I love all those boys.
Yeah, Gordo and all them that kind of run that place. They they do it well, and that place is enormous.
Yeah,
and
so I mean, like pre-COVID, I was trying to get in Chicago a lot. It's not that I'm not anymore, but it's just like when COVID happened, it kind of I felt like reset the market where everybody was trying to take care of their locals so much because, you know what I mean, the locals hadn't worked for so long that I just like didn't want to even like get involved in that. Like, dude, this dude's hitting me up right now. We're trying to take care of the locals.
Yeah.
But one day, for sure.
Yeah, dope. Who is your favorite artist to listen to right now?
Rap-wise, Lil Baby.
Okay.
Like chill-wise, it'll always be Mike, or he used to be formerly known as Mike Stud. He's like his album from like 2021 or whatever. I don't want to get it wrong, even though I listen to it all the time and I have every song memorized. I think it's like Blue Skies or something.
Yeah.
That's like my favorite, just like driving and chilling, not listening to turn-up music album. And then dance-wise, I'd say James Hype or Fred again, probably.
Nice.
And with a special, like, I guess, honorable mention to Fisher.
Okay. Dope.
Yeah.
As far as playing, who's your favorite artist to play?
I think dance-wise, I'm still going to stick with my 3. So James Hype, Fred again, Fisher. Hugel would probably be like a honorable mention. I just haven't heard like a bad remix or song from Hugel. And then
He's been on the platform.
Really?
Yeah, he did a mix.
That's
He was like
fire.
our first mix back.
Dude, I rip his remixes and like
break.
mashups a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that he makes them. I think they're whatever. But either way, like wherever I'm getting them from, whatever record pool, I love a lot of the Hugel mashups and so forth. And then rap wise, like I think Lil Baby Right On is just my favorite song.
Okay.
And I even though it's not new, I gotta jam it out.
Still like it.
Yeah, but I'll never get sick of Drake. You know what I'm saying? So that's just like a duh. You knew that though.
Yeah. There's just people that you'll always be able to play, you'll always like. So
yeah.
But awesome, man. That's all I got for you.
Brother, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you, man. You're killing it, bro.
I appreciate it.
Shouts out to you. Thank you for having me. Good to see you, bro.
Yeah, I'm glad that I'm going to be here for a couple days, be able to hang out with the boys. I appreciate you taking the time to actually sit down and get this done and get it out here. For people that are watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. everyone go follow. I'll put all your links for your socials up for everybody. Follow on Instagram is Rutger's main thing, but I'll put all his socials up for everything. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, make sure you hit that follow button. If you like those DJ mixes for the platform, those come out every Monday on Apple Podcast, on SoundCloud, and on Mixcloud. And as always, I'm DJ Dex. Until next time, peace. Check, mic check, 1, 2.
Yo, is this thing on or what?